and we will stop at nothing.
Welcome into In Touch with Steve Cherundolo. There is the aforementioned head coach of LAFC, coming off a nice scoreless tie up in Seattle. You had this road trip there, you had a road trip to Costa Rica. Now you can get to some normalization. What do you like? What do you get the most out of a week like this in advance of getting back to MLS action?
Recharging our batteries is the most important thing after a real congested and positive start to the season. And we were able to do that. Give the guys a few days off. Training looked really sharp today. So recharging our batteries and getting back into a rhythm of playing again, and we'll have 2 normal weeks, this week and next week, and looking forward to those. But the idea is obviously to be at your peak on Saturday.
We're also recording this in here today because of more rain in Los Angeles, which you enjoy for the training. The guys got to love that.
For football and for training, it's awesome. For the coaches, not so much because we just stand there. But for the players, it's great. It's a welcome change and much needed weather in Southern California.
Back-to-back league clean sheets and doing it at a very difficult place in Seattle. You've been able to work with some different pairings, central defense, in the midfield. Where are you with the defensive effort? What has stood out about what you've seen thus far?
What stood out is when we follow the rules and we stay disciplined and defend in a compact manner, and players stay in their positions and do what we ask them of, and there's communication on the defense side, I think we're very effective. And saw a great performance against New England defensively as well as offensively, and I thought the defensive effort for most of the game in Seattle was very good, especially in the second half, and definitely something to build on throughout these next couple of weeks.
Well, let's talk about building on that towards Saturday's opponent, BMO Stadium. You have FC Dallas. It is an international week, which is very challenging for yourself as you're without 4 players on LAFC's roster. FC Dallas finished 3rd in the West the last season. Looking pretty good here, and we know what they can do offensively. What is the approach when taking on a team like this?
It's a very good team. I think it's at a similar level, maybe a bit better than last season as well. So everybody's improved a little bit. Plays in a very similar manner than we do. They like to attack, like to score goals, like to press. I think the most interesting and effective part of their game is their offensive transition, and they're quite good. And it's something we're aware of, especially here at our place, where we expect them to like their chances on the counterattack. There will be spaces for them to at least counter into. So we are wary of what's coming our way. We respect what's coming our way. Nico's done a great job with that team. It'll be a tough game because we are a bit shorthanded, but I still think if we perform at our top level, we can come away with 3 points.
Fun game to watch as well. I'm going to go back to the Seattle game one last time because in the 82nd minute, Eric Duenas came on. We've seen him pop in a couple of these games. You said at the beginning of the season that you would lean into these academy players, and that's proof of concept. What have you told Eric and others how to prepare for this moment?
Well, when you do get your chance, it's important to be ready. And every day in training, we have passing exercises, we have larger, more complex drills, and getting the most out of each drill. And then even after training, putting in a little extra work, because as an academy player, a younger player, you aren't as good as the starters at LAFC yet, meaning you have to put in extra work to get to that level. So we're constantly working with the young guys and communicating with them. So when they do get their chance, they are ready. I think Eric took advantage of his minutes in Seattle and looked very good.
It's been great to see them develop, and that was a bit of a segue, Steve, because I was going to ask you, as our theme today is LAFC Academy. LAFC 2 begin their season Sunday, Titan Stadium in Fullerton. Go to LAFC2.com to check on for tickets. It's going to be a fun night out. I know you guys have kept a watchful eye on this group and seen them develop. It's very exciting. So I'm going to ask some academy questions, because you were a young player once, and you were coming through the pipeline. So I'm going to ask you and start with, what was the best advice you got when you were in your formative years?
As a youth player, I think the best advice was just continue working and stay hungry. And try to, even if you disagree with what the coach is telling you, try to find something you can use out of that and to soak everything up like a sponge. I think that's the most important lesson that I learned as an academy player. And then moving on as a young pro, I think the best advice was kind of what I'm trying to instill in these players is when you do get your chance, make sure you're ready to take advantage of it, because you may only get one shot.
And that's your best advice now, because that's switched a bit. You are in the coaching position, and you would share that information to these guys as advice. Say, here, this is what you gotta stick to.
I would share it, and I do share it. And also all of the tactical tips on the field and putting in the extra work as a younger player, staying hungry. Those are all really important tangibles still now in this game, and they were 20 years ago.
Was there ever an academy that Steve Cherundolo dreamt about playing once? back in the day.
Absolutely, yeah. So Mom, if you're watching, you'll remember.
Mom does watch.
Yeah,
I can tell you that for a fact.
I know she does. I was in England with my youth soccer team, the San Diego Nomads at the time, and we took an England trip every year. And we stayed in the Manchester area. I remember playing against Liverpool's academy team. And that age group, I think Gerard and a few other guys around that group.
Wow.
Good group. I had an opportunity to stay there. And that was kind of a dream. But my parents, mother who's watching, said, no, you're coming home. And it was obviously the right choice.
Yeah, Mom knows best. And maybe you wouldn't be here right now with LAFC if
Maybe,
things changed.
maybe.
Serendipity. Did you get any good gear? Any good Liverpool gear?
I did. I saw my first professional game over there, Liverpool, Arsenal at Anfield. And obviously that stuck with me, and which is the reason why I'm still a Liverpool fan today.
Your first professional game was Liverpool and Arsenal at Anfield.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's a lot better than my first professional game. I won't get into that, but it wasn't Liverpool, Arsenal at Anfield. Do you have a favorite moment in those years coming up that you remember? Maybe being on tour or something that stood out, other than Liverpool, Arsenal at Anfield.
Yeah, as an academy player, my favorite moments were winning state cups with the Nomads. And we consistently beat one specific team. So Carlos, if you're watching, Arsenal here of the LA area back in the day. It was always us and Arsenal in the final, and state cup finals was usually our thing, and we got the edge of them pretty much every year.
You still remember that. It's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Cherundolo sharing this incredible stories. You're an incredible resource. We appreciate it. LAFC, FC Dallas, Saturday night, BMO Stadium. Check it out. And don't forget LAFC 2 down in Fullerton on Sunday at 5 o'clock. We'll see you next time on In Touch with Steve Cherundolo.